Hello, my name is Contina Brooks. I'm an operating engineer out of Local 98 in Western Mass. I will now read you a piece on W.E.B Du Bois. W.E.B Du Bois was born February 23rd, 1868 and died August 27th of 1963. He was an American sociologist, socialist, historian, civil rights activist, Pan-Africanist, author, writer, and editor. Born in Great Barrington, Massachusetts, Du Bois grew up in a relatively tolerant and integrated community, and after completing graduate work at the University of Berlin and Harvard, where he was the first African American to earn a doctorate, he became a professor of history, sociology, and economics at Atlanta University. Du Bois was one of the founders of the National Association for Advancement of Colored People, which is the NAACP, in 1909. Early Du Bois had risen to national prominence as a leader of the Niagara Movement, a group of African American activists that wanted equal rights for blacks. Du Bois and his supporters opposed the Atlanta Compromise, an agreement crafted by Booker T. Washington, which provided that Southern blacks would work and submit to white political rule, while Southern whites guaranteed that blacks would receive basic educational and economic opportunities. Instead, Du Bois insisted on full civil rights and increased political representation, which he believed would be brought about by African American intellectual elite. He referred to this group as the Talented Tenth, a concept under the umbrella of racial uplift, and believed that African Americans needed the chances for advanced education to develop its leadership. Racism was the main target of Du Bois's polemics, and he strongly protested against lynching, Jim Crow laws, and discrimination in the education and employment. His cause included people of color everywhere, particularly African Americans, Asians, and colonies. He was proponent of the Pan-Africanism and helped organize several Pan-African congresses to fight for the independence of African colonies from European powers. Du Bois made several trips to Europe, Africa, and Asia after World War I. Du Bois was a prolific author. His collection of essays and Souls of Black Folk, and the seminal work of African American literature, and his 1935 magnum opus, Black Reconstruction in America, challenged in prevailing orthodoxy that blacks were responsible for the failures of the Reconstruction era. Borrowing a phrase from Frederick Douglass, he popularized the use of the term color line to represent the injustice of the separate but equal doctrine. Du Bois believed that the capitalism was a primary cause of racism, and he was generally sympathetic to socialist causes throughout his life. He was an ardent peace activist and advocated nuclear disarmament. The United States Civil Rights Act, embodying many of the reforms for which Du Bois had campaigned his entire life, was enacted a year after his death. W.E.B. Du Bois, A Black History Labor Movement.